I started delivery business when I was a teenager and started with a van because I didn't like my painting business that I started before that.
Okay.
I realized painting in the winter in Chicago is horrible. So I didn't like that. So I turned my van into a delivery van, and it was all carpet and tile. I would call for sale by whatever showed up within a 10-mile radius from here to Joliet. I would just call. They'd hang up on me. It's like no one's got the stomach for it. Let me just say that. Well, for sure. But I also think that the workload of being a musician, if you're actually doing gigs, it is a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
Because you're playing till midnight, 1 o'clock, sometimes 2. And if we did our oldies band, we would play 4 sets till 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And you would have to figure out how to get home with all that stuff, and you're tired.
So here we are, Rate of Success podcast. I'm super excited today. We have the one and only Lee Ernst.
The one and only,
The
wow.
one and only Lee Ernst. So Lee and I have known each other for about 15, 16 years, something like that, maybe 20.
When did you get in Remax Action?
So it was about 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since then. I was in there in 2007, so I beat you by a year.
Yeah, there you go. So we've known each other a while. We've spent a lot of time working together. Why don't you tell me just a little bit about what you're doing right now, where you're at, what company you're with, and we'll get started there.
Sure. EXP Realty.
Okay.
It's fantastic. It's kind of like having a personal brokerage because
Yeah.
they're available 24/7. It's online. You can go into the little avatar thing. You could call. It is just so cool. And
Yeah.
I've got group healthcare prices, which is great. I don't think there's any other real estate companies that are doing that yet. I got profit sharing, so every time I have a closing, I'm able to put 5% towards stock at discounts of 10%. So that's been like a really cool savings thing. Bought a nice car with that money after the last 5 years. So yeah, I saw a really cool Viper and I said, hey, where do I have the cash laying around?
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about that a little bit because, let's first get into the EXP, because obviously over the last several years, there's been quite a bit of news regarding brokerages, consolidations. EXP just made a move. Every brokerage has kind of made this move. So what has that been like? Because you obviously been with EXP for quite some time. So 2020. So what was that transition like? What has it been like? And how has it kind of played out for you personally in your current career?
It's really simple because it's like whether you're new or you've moved around, once you get to a new place, there's always someone there to help, right? It's not like you're going to go and not know anybody or know anything. At least with EXP, it's kind of cool because there's a whole group of people who really like to actually just go out and search for agents and hire agents because you can actually make a living off of that by bringing agents over to EXP. Because I was making an extra $3,000 to $10,000 a year just off of agents that joined up under me, and I didn't even try, man. It was only with like 5 agents.
Yeah.
So imagine if you had 30 of those agents, you're making $80,000 a year extra. That's kind of cool. I'm not that type of person to go out and try to convince people to jump brokerages, but when I did go, the guy who convinced me to go, I wanted to go, but great help. And then the EXP online stuff is so cool because your accounting is online. You could actually take your little avatar, walk in to the accounting office and say, hey, man, I think there's a discrepancy here, or whatever it might be, or where's my 1099? All this good stuff. Now it's tax season. That's what I got in my head. It's been great, man. And it was funny that my catalyst to move from Remax, because really I was a Remax lifer. I was there since 2007. I was at Coldwell Banker for 2 years. Okay, so you were at Coldwell Banker for 2 years. That's where you started. Yeah. Okay. Who got you into the business? I did. You did. Okay. I did. Did you know someone that was in real estate or? Yeah, my real estate agent. By 2005, I was on my 3rd property, moving. Okay. I started in 96 with my first house. And anyway, bought a place in downtown Lombard. And I said, I was really sick of my delivery business. I did that for up until 2005. I was at it for 15 years, right? And just tired of it, just. So talk about that a little bit. So you owned a business, delivery. What were you delivering? So I was a kid entrepreneur, trying to hustle to do whatever. I was cleaning the corner store for $1 a day. Yeah. But, this was 70s. I'm getting old. Yeah. And I'm talking a little kid. But long story short, I started delivery business when I was a teenager and started with a van because I didn't like my painting business that I started before that.
Okay.
I realized painting in the winter in Chicago is horrible. So I didn't like that. So I turned my van into a delivery van, and it was all carpet and tile.
Yeah.
And then I turned that into a demolition business for carpet and tile. We would actually go remove all the carpet and tile for a lot of the union shops in Chicago.
So you've been an entrepreneur your whole life, essentially, if you're starting that young.
Yeah.
So obviously that takes not everyone goes and starts a delivery business or a painting business. What do you think that was that,
I know what it was.
Okay, what was it?
Every time I had a job, there was too much drama. I'm trying to be nice on my words.
Yeah.
The drama, I'm not into it, man.
Yeah.
I run from drama.
Yeah, yeah.
Same thing if friends, dating back in the day, I'm happily married, but back in the day, dating, as soon as I saw drama, I'm out.
Yeah.
I got to go. I don't have time for this bullshit mind games and stuff.
Yeah.
So sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. So but owning a business obviously takes a lot of risk. You're kind of being modest about it a little bit, but like most people feel the same way, but they run from the idea of, they go to security.
I didn't have an option though, because my mentality was, I remember I was 16, got my first job, Kedzie, Addison, that's where I grew up. There was an Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips. Anyone remember those?
Yeah.
So I'm working there.
Yeah.
I'm 16. My first real job, besides my little cleaning thing I did as a kid.
Yeah.
I was there for 2 or 3 months. All of a sudden, guys like, hey, man, you're our most dependable employee we have. Here's the keys. You get the clothes. We're making you assistant manager, and they gave me a raise. I'm like, I don't know if I want that responsibility, but okay, whatever. So, I'm counting the money at night, putting it in the safe, doing all the closing stuff. And of course, there was leftover fish and chips. So all my musician friends that were in my bands at the time, they'd come by, grab whatever's left, because my parents got tired of me coming home with fish and chips every night for leftovers.
So were your parents self-employed at all or anything like that?
No, man.
Okay.
Scared straight. You know what that means?
Yeah.
My parents scared me straight, man, because they didn't make a lot of money.
Yeah.
They were $10 an hour factory workers.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow. I expected much more for myself.
That's great. I mean, because again, most people in that position would kind of do similar to what their parents do and not follow.
If my dad was a professional race car driver, I'd be in.
Exactly.
And he and me wanted to be, but
you
just don't have the money to do that as a kid, right?
Yeah.
So that would have been a great career. I was all over the car stuff even as a kid.
Yeah. Where did your passion for cars come? Because that's a lot of where we've connected over
cars.
The years.
He would bring home the Road and Track, the Car and Driver. I would read all that stuff as a kid under 10 years old reading them.
Yeah.
I learned really good verbiage and words from those magazines because some of those car writers, they are wordsmiths. I'm not even lying. Man. They know how to write clever innuendos, clever closings. They were pretty damn good writers.
What was your first car growing up?
I had to sneak and buy it. My mom didn't want me to have a car right away, but I did anyway. I had $400 and I got a Dodge Satellite, 318 Dodge Satellite, 71 loop bumper. I love it. I wound up buying a Roadrunner as an adult with the 440. The cooler version of that car, Hemi Orange. And you probably saw it. And,
do you still have that one?
No. Oh man, you're giving me a plot twist here. I got rid of all my carburetor cars because I've got a Trans Am with a brand new motor swap in it. So it's got the LS3 motor with almost 600
LS
horsepower.
swap, that seems to be, doesn't it just make it that much easier when
I got air conditioning. It doesn't vapor lock on me like the Roadrunner used to. The hoses don't break off. It's been great. We just did a road rally Sunday in that Trans Am with all the high-end, hypercars and stuff like that. And 160 something miles an hour. And it's hanging in there. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, okay, so you had this delivery business, so you did that for 17 years, okay? Then you decide 18. So then, like most people, you decide to get into real estate by accident, okay? Because we joke about this, and the reason why I always talk about it is like nobody gets into real estate, by design. Like we all kind of find real estate by accident, okay? No, you didn't graduate college or go somewhere and be like, I'm going to be a realtor when I grow up. It's like we all kind of find it by accident. So you said you bought some properties, you decided to become a realtor. What was those first couple of years like at Coldwell Banker?
Well, the properties I bought, I didn't have the spending money at that point to buy an investment property. So I just bought the house that I moved in.
Yeah.
We moved up and blah, blah, blah. But
how old were you when you bought your first home?
30?
Yeah. Do you know what the
30?
average first-time home buyer is today?
Probably 40.
As of last year, it's 40. It's crazy.
I know these numbers, so I shouldn't say.
So the thing I always talk about is think about it like you bought 3 homes in that time and you used the equity from each home to kind of move up. And what I always talk about is you kind of lose that nowadays because you're not buying at 30, you're not getting that equity to, and you're kind of losing that move up. That's why all of our 40-year-old first-time home buyers want their forever home first because they didn't do the stuff up. Yeah.
I feel so bad for it. So our client, Matt.
Yes.
No last names announced. Poor guy's been looking forever. And I hate to say this, but he was looking a while back. I mean, this is probably the 3rd property I sold him.
I think we're going on 3 years with him.
Yeah, but even before that, I sold him something in the teens.
Yeah.
But he moved all the way out to like, it was either Plainfield or Sugar Grove, right around in there. Long story short, this poor guy, I remember when we were looking at his first house, you can buy a nice 13, 14, 1,500 square foot starter house for $220 to $250.
Yeah.
Now he's back to trying to buy that same house again because life goes up, life goes down. Divorces happen. The next thing you know, it's $450 now around here for that same $250,000 house, and the rates aren't 4% or 3%. Where your mortgage payment would be $1,700. Now it's $3,000.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for the people starting out. How the hell are you going to afford a $3,000 mortgage payment if you're not old enough to be able to be making real money? It's crazy.
So you touch on kind of a conversation that you and I probably both have way more than we would like is you're delaying your first home purchase. Home prices have gone up. We talked a lot about COVID and things like that, where home prices have, what's the biggest difference? You have residency in Arizona and you have residency in Illinois. Well, technically you live in Arizona, but you do come back a lot because you have a very cool, which we'll talk about in a minute, but very cool resident here. But what do you feel like is the biggest difference between both places when it comes to first-time home buyers? Is the market completely different? Or is it in a lot of ways similar?
I don't know if any market is completely different, but they're different enough to be like a definite, here's a line in the sand, this is AZ and this is Illinois. So,
do you have a lot more new construction in Arizona? Is that a much better option for first-time home buyers?
Because let's face it, the Chicagoland area is huge. And it's a lot of landlocked. Whenever someone does find a piece of land, they'll build on it. But Arizona is much more spread out, I think. They're not quite as landlocked. I think they have 5 million in the whole population. That doesn't include just Phoenix and Scottsdale. I'm talking like all of it, like Mesa, all the way up to Cave Creek and all that stuff, So it's smaller. What do we got now in Chicagoland area? Is it 7 million?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah, we just don't have any new construction where everyone wants to live. It's not like you're buying a...
Well, because now where you got to go? You got to go out to Dixon to get some land.
Yeah. Which nobody wants to move that far out. Yeah, so that's the problem. Especially if you're commuting back and forth to the city, it's always tough to be able to do that. So I think that's a challenge. So do you feel like as a first-time home buyer, you have more inventory to choose from in Arizona, but just the price points are higher?
This year, there's way more inventory because stuff is not moving as fast as it is here.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, your first-time buyer here, we were talking about 400. Out there, the 4 to 450 gets you in Downers Grove for a starter house, though, right?
Yeah.
And it might need some work, but you could still get something. But out in Arizona, if you want the equivalent to Downers Grove lifestyle, something cool, a better neighborhood, man, you're at 650 to 750 for that same 450 starter house. So it's way too expensive out there where we're at. I don't know what happened out there. Because I remember in 2011 when Patty Irwin, shout out to Patty Irwin, she's awesome. When she moved out there in 2011, buying places for like $200,000. And now that house that she had is, I think they just sold it for like $650 and they paid like $2. I'm like, what's that?
Crazy, yeah. She did it before everyone else. Before it was like fashionable.
It was fashionable to go to Arizona.
She was the first one that was smart.
Man.
Yeah,
she knows what's up. And Mike is awesome too.
And she's done a great job. If you think back to our, the Remax office, there was Patty moved and has done really, really well. Jeannie Dominguez moved to California, did really, really well. You've moved and done really, really well. So there's like a group from that original office, which, if you think about it, is not easy to do. What was the hardest thing to learn when you kind of moved out to Arizona and kind of, because you had this very successful business, COVID happens, Okay. Obviously, you have this opportunity to move to Arizona. Yeah.
Well, like I was telling
Yeah.
him before the mic started here, it was kind of funny because COVID allowed me to go out to Arizona and hang out because no one wanted me in their house
Yeah.
or their commercial property.
Yeah.
So to preface that, I do probably 50-50 these days. I built up such a big commercial part of my business that literally half of my income is from commercial stuff these
Yeah.
days with the warehouses that we'll talk about, but also difficult stuff, man. I sold that 620 AM big AM radio station out in
wow.
Aurora.
Okay.
That was on 20 acres.
Wow. That's a lot of
And
land.
the land development took 18 months before they can get approval before
Wow.
we can close. So if anyone wants to get into commercial, knock it out, but you might not get paid for a year and a half. So
Yeah, so
those
like
kind of
just
deals.
on that real quick, like so going to the commercial side, obviously it's like a completely different, process on the commercial side.
Yeah.
Do you feel like having the commercial and having residential experience gives you a lot of advantages as a realtor to be able to help both clients because you've seen and done both?
Yeah, for sure it does because the commercial stuff's all about real math.
Yeah.
And especially if on the surface, when I started with it, it didn't seem like it was going to be anything complicated. Like it was just like, oh, go sell a property. It's a building. Yeah, if you're doing multifamily, yeah, it's pretty easy. But where it gets really crazy is when you hear about people getting sued for not knowing what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part because with the commercial stuff, if you don't do your due diligence and your client buys it, they're going to blame you for not telling them that they just bought 20 acres that was zoned manufacturing, but you want to put a house on it, and now they're going to tell you, well, you can't because it's zoned manufacturing.
Yeah.
And in this case, you save yourself from getting sued by me starting the conversation with the village and saying, listen, you guys have this 20 acres. It's half of it's in that wetlands preserve, and it's surrounded by residential. So I literally wasting 2 months of my time calling and making appointments with the village planning and zoning to get this rezoned.
Yeah.
Right before you could even put it on the market.
Yeah.
So I'm working for free for months without even getting it on the market yet because I got to get it rezoned. And I don't expect the clients to know what they're doing either, right? Because it's not their gig. They hire you to do all this stuff for you. So there's a lot more involved if you're not doing something that's a cookie cutter commercial thing.
So I got to ask you a funny question though out of all this. Like, obviously doing commercial, doing residential, and you said in the very beginning that you don't like drama. Don't you in a lot of ways kind of manufacture a lot of drama with all the work that you're doing and dealing with? Because there's a lot of personalities in when you're dealing with these villages, and that's, it's a lot of politics, because
the politics is out of hand, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, some of these, there's a lot of agendas, on some of these lands and what they want and what they don't. So, like, do you find yourself, having to kind of really test your patience a little bit, going through a lot of these things and just making sure that you can deal with a lot of that?
Yeah, I think that is a very good, valid question. Point also because you are 100% correct. What's going to happen is the drama could be there, but I'm pretty professional, but I'm also realistic and easygoing too. Right?
Yeah.
So I haven't had the drama yet with that, but let me back up. In the last 5 years, everything's fresh to me. I haven't had the drama.
Yeah.
But yes, there was a lot of that politicking in, I don't know if I want to say the city.
Yeah.
But the town I used to live in,
Yeah.
a lot of nonsense going over there.
And I know what you're talking about. We don't need to say it, but you can simply drive through that town and it looks like there's a lot of politics, like because nothing gets built.
Nothing gets built forever.
Yeah, and
like
it's
since
crazy.
I was there since
and
the
you go
2000s.
through every town and you see all this development, and you get to that town, and it's nothing. It's crazy.
No, I literally would bring buyers for the entire city block, got an entire block under contract.
Yeah.
You know how hard that is to get an entire block under contract, plus the one holdout on the end of the block? I did that, and they still said, okay, you got it all, cool. I'm glad you guys got this done, but we still don't want that type of property because, this was the funniest thing you're going to hear. They wanted to build the condos, because condos, whatever, densely populated,
exactly.
downtown, right by the train. put the condos up.
Yep.
The developer does these all the time, but they need 5 stories, 5 or 6 stories, 5 minimum. The town says you can only do 4.
Wow.
Well, we can't make any money.
Yeah.
We might actually lose money if we don't get that extra 5th or 6th floor.
Yeah.
Well, we can't do it then.
Because it's all math at that point.
No. You want to hear the reason? At that time, they shot it down because the design attitude that they had was, this is the circle of the town.
Yeah.
The downtown. They want the taller buildings on the outside of the perimeter. So they wanted to keep his short.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, makes no sense.
So I think it was just excuses to halt progress because I think there's people in that town that just literally wanted it to be a sleepy little town.
Yeah.
I don't think they wanted anything to go on.
Yeah.
But now I just drove through there on my way here. A lot of stuff knocked down, so there's progress now.
Well, they're
I don't know what's
definitely
going on.
working that one area that's been vacant forever.
I'm so excited for that.
And it's going to be condos from what I understand, right? Or
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
that's the only thing builders are building right now.
Yeah.
Well, no, let me rephrase that. That whole block that I had under contract, that's my client. He may or may not have bought another one of my land properties. There's a really good chance there's going to be townhomes there.
Okay, that's good.
Where the bank used to be.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So obviously being in the commercial side, you get to experience a lot of business owners, and you've been a business owner. And
As a teenager.
Yeah. So, I mean, how is that? What is it like on the commercial side right now? Like, we're all used to residential side.
Yep.
Is there big differences in what's going on the commercial side compared to residential?
I will tell you, I'm kind of bummed out that I didn't get any of this action that's in this town that we're talking about right now because the way it looks, something's happening. Someone's getting it done. And I hope that it's my client who is doing the development part of it. So that would be nice. I should probably just call him after this and see what's up. But anyway, it's an interesting twist to do these commercial things and the residential stuff. And what's even funnier? A lot of these commercial things don't ever make it to the us.
Yeah.
So I kind of look like a ghost. Like, what's he talking about? He's not making any money anymore.
Yeah.
He's only selling X amount of transactions.
Yeah.
He used to sell 60-something. What's he doing down here with 20-something? But then all of my commercial deals, they don't even make it to the MLS sometimes. Unless it's my listing, I'll put
Is it
on
all
the
just
MLS.
who you know and you have a buyer here or someone hears about it? Or
everyone's on the commercial sites.
Yeah.
We have our favorite commercial sites that we list them on.
Yeah.
I list them on the MLS. That's what makes me, I think, guys like me who are good at both, we get to list them on the MLS so everyone sees it too because especially for like restaurants. I'll have a restaurant listing once in a while. I have a pizza thing now. And you put it on the MLS, the mom and pop realtors might know someone for that.
Yeah.
They might not know one for my garage condos. They might not know one for the 30,000 foot warehouse that we're selling, but they might know someone for the
what do you think the
for
biggest
the
thing you've
restaurants.
learned on the commercial side that you've made you a better realtor on the residential side?
You can't fake it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really fake it. And lucky for me, I owned a commercial building before I got my real estate license. I bought my first warehouse in 2001 in
So that was
Addison.
for your delivery business?
It was 10,000 feet.
Okay.
And it had a dock,
Okay.
2 drive-in doors that you could actually shut the door and keep the truck inside, so that's kind of nice. Bought that. Didn't know what I was doing because I was just a buyer like everybody else. And I said, well, one of these days I might do that. And really it was my residential realtor, Mary, shout out to Mary Andreas. She's long retired, but she was a Remaxer from Geneva.
Okay.
And she was my agent. And by the time 2005 rolls around, I'm like, man, I got to do something new.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of this delivery business. I've been doing it so long. She's like, you'd be great. You're a salesman. I'm like, I am?
Yeah.
Well, how did you get 40 commercial clients? I'm like, I don't know. I think they just showed up.
Yeah.
So I did it. And I was so mad at her after I did it because I realized no one's giving me any business. I was going to all my carpet clients and stuff. They were like, dude, you're a delivery business guy. You don't know anything about residential properties. I'm like, I'm learning.
Yeah.
Help me out here. Throw me a bone, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. And, eventually you figure it out. But, Mary was my catalyst to become it because she gave me the okay kind of like, you'd be good at it. But my timing was horrible. Here's what happened. So 2005, I'm excited. I'm running around. I'm a real estate agent. I don't get any listings. So I bought a couple of houses to flip. Like I would flip one, go find another one and flip it. You don't make any money, man.
Yeah.
It's by the time you get taxed on it and everything else.
Yeah.
You know, oh man, I think I made 40 grand. No, I got taxes. I forgot about that thing.
Yeah.
You make like 5 to 10 grand. And you're like, I don't know if this is worth it. And then, long story short, I got to keep moving on here. That wasn't working out, and then the crash happens. So now it's 2008, and I just shut my delivery business down.
Wow.
Because I'm like, I'm all in on this real estate stuff, even though I'm not making any money at it.
Yeah.
I don't have enough clients yet.
Yeah.
And they were like, wait a minute. I just got rid of my delivery business and the market crashed, and now no one's doing anything.
Yeah.
Everyone quit paying their mortgages. Everyone's in the foreclosure, short selling. That was rough, man. I literally lived off of my savings and whatever else I had
But do you feel like going through that
through.
helped you kind of build the business that you had shortly thereafter that? Because I feel like that's when you really kind of found your groove there a little bit, was right after 2010, 2012. And obviously the market helped, but you had a really great run after that. Like,
oh yeah.
So do you feel like you learned? Yeah.
I'll give you the time frame.
Yeah.
It was brutal. 2008, 9, 10. 8 and 9 was terrible. All I did was call for sale by owners. I had a system that I figured out thanks to Floyd Wickman. I kind of took his idea.
Yeah.
And I did that. I would call for sale by owner. Whatever showed up within a 10-mile radius from here to Joliet, I would just call. They'd hang up on me. You know, it's like no one's got the stomach for it. Let me just say that. Like the people who are good are the expired callers. Yeah. As we know, Steve also.
Yeah, Steve is amazing. Yeah.
So I was doing that before Steve was in the office. I didn't want the expires. I was really good with the for sale by owners. Yeah. They would hang up. Hey, man, what are you doing calling me? Why do you think I'm for sale by owner? I don't need you. And then they'd hang up.
Yeah.
Give me a couple days. I call them back. Hey, I think we got disconnected. Oh, no, I hung up on you. Oh, you son of a bitch. And then they'd hang up again. It's like I call them 2 days later.
Yeah.
I had a little spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Who did I call? What did they say? Oh, I kept track, right? Because what else am I doing? I got no business. And remember, if I didn't have 2 kids, I probably wouldn't have tried so hard. But I'm like, okay, my wife's working her ass off. I'm not used to being the schmuck of the relationship, right? So I gotta get some business, man. So I just kept at it, literally, night and day. Eventually, I don't know how many calls, 3 to 5 calls it would take before they finally go, oh man. Okay, what do you got?
So what I love about that though is, like, if you really think about it, a lot of that is not how people get business today. And it's why most people struggle, and it's why the average realtor, you know, all the stats, doesn't do business. But if you go back and think about, not only was the world crashing around us, okay, and then you had people losing their jobs, people losing their homes. I joke about it all the time. I joked about this with Gary the other day. Was I remember being in the office, and people would get a listing. It's hard for people to even comprehend this in the market that we're in today, if you really think about it. We'd get a listing, and they wouldn't want it. Okay,
I remember
because you would have to sign a 12-month listing agreement, and you're like, well, what if it takes me 14 months to sell it, and I got to spend 12 months of expenses,
I know,
and I don't want to spend that much money, and like you tell people that, and I specifically remember Gary having conversations with realtors, like, you have to take this listing, like you got to, like, and it seems unheard of that we're in a market where we're all dying for listings, and we need listings, but that time, people were not wanting to take listings because you'd have to do open houses every weekend. You know, just give me a buyer. I want a buyer. I want a buyer. So such a crazy time during that time. But I think it goes to show, like, if you really think about it, like, you had the world crashing around us. You had, you know, you didn't want to take listings.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You were making outbound phone calls. Okay.
Yeah.
And getting beat up every time you did it over and over again. Like, we talk about it because we experienced it, but like, that was, I think, if you could grind and have the grit to make it through that period, like, do you kind of feel like there's not a lot that would rattle you in the current market?
Yeah. You are 100%.
Yeah.
Nothing bothers me anymore.
Yeah.
I've seen it all. You know, people, matter of fact, I have over 600 closings, which means I probably wrote 3,000 contracts to get 600 to close.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a lot of transactions and a lot of dealing with people. Think about that. 3,000 contracts might be for 2,000 people.
Yeah.
You know, because let's face it, your first offer for people sometimes don't work.
No. Well, look at our Matt.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I lost count of how many deals we've written up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just crazy.
I mean, where do you think that comes from? So, you know, obviously you have a musical background. Okay. I'm going to try to see if there's any connection here. You can tell me if I'm crazy, but like
people could go on to Cherry Rocket Facebook page.
Yeah.
We spell it bad too, because 80s you spell things.
But you played drums, and you had to have this like level of like when you started playing drums, you weren't that good probably. You had to really work at it, and you had to kind of develop it over time, and you had to really perfect it.
Yeah.
Do you kind of feel like what you learned in the music business and all the grit that you had to have driving around in a van, I'm sure, that you have to have a level of grit that today most people don't even understand. Do you feel like you learned a lot doing that in the music business?
Well, for sure, but I also think that the workload of being a musician, if you're actually doing gigs,
Yeah.
it is a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
Because you're playing till midnight, 1 o'clock, sometimes 2. And if we did our oldies band, we would play 4 sets till 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And you would have to figure out how to get home with all that stuff, and you're tired, and then you got to wake up the next day.
Go do your day job?
I might even go, exactly, that's the hard part, the day job. And when I was a kid, when I was in my teens, I was BMX racing. So I was literally the healthy guy in the band. We'd do a gig on Saturday, I'd have to go race on Sunday. So by the time I was in the 17 and over expert class, I had to make a decision, man, because we kept getting more and more gigs. I literally quit 3/4 of the way through the season. I had enough points to be the 17 and 1 and over expert class for Illinois. I had enough points. I was in the number 1 place, but I don't know if I would have kept at it and got worse because I had gigs and I'm waking up tired. So I just bailed out. I said, man, I got to make a decision. I got to do one or the other. And I thought, looking back, I said, well, my favorite BMX racer was making 50 grand back in the 80s. And
so where does
my favorite drummer was making millions. So I'm like,
well, who's your favorite drummer?
Oh, God. I mean, let me say the people who got me started, like trying to play was like Led Zeppelin and, like even Cheap Trick, Rush.
Yeah.
Then the metal bands from Britain came, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. So, I was playing cover bands as a teenager, playing that stuff. And
so who's on your Mount Rushmore of drummers then?
Probably those guys that I just said.
Okay.
I mean, there's phenomenal.
Is Lars on there at all, or?
No, I mean,
No.
No, I mean, obviously he's a great drummer but there's just too many of them.
Yeah.
It's like trying to pick your favorite kids.
No, I know. I was just always curious.
Hard. But there's so many.
There's
new
always
drummers.
that debate out there. That's why I was asking you.
There's so many new drummers that took it to a higher level too. And this is funny too because I was doing like the hair rock band stuff, and the metal stuff, and then industrial stuff, and in an oldies band. So I was playing in all this stuff.
And an Irish band. I think you were helping.
Yes, that's true too.
Yeah.
And doing. So I would do this stuff and have my delivery business at the same time too. That was the hard part. So I don't know. I guess I always like to be on the move. Just moving around.
But you take anything from that process of doing all that, and does it apply to anything you do today? Are there any parallels that you really lean on each and every day?
I mean, if there's work to be done, I don't quit.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, I'm not making excuses to go to bed early or anything. I do like to go to bed early though.
Yeah.
I'm up too damn early, but
Yeah.
But I mean, if it's got to get done, it's got to get done.
Yeah.
That's how you look at it.
So you've kind of, out of your love of cars, so you have music, okay? One question though for you. Where does because I just remember this movie as a kid that I watched like 1,000 times. Rad. It was like a BMX movie. Do you remember it?
I just watched it with my daughter.
Okay, so where does that movie come in your like? Was that like? Were you older when that like?
That was my era.
Okay, was that your era?
Okay,
when you were in your
man.
BMX era. Okay, yeah.
All through the 80s.
Yeah. So I remember that movie like vividly.
Yeah.
Like yeah. Because I remember getting a bike after that and like. It was
hilarious.
Yeah. But I just remember that movie.
I have it on DVD. So my daughter came out last year, and we watched it, and then she came over again recently, and she's like, "You remember that movie?" I'm like, "Yeah." Even kids in their 20s, they like that fun 80s look.
They don't make movies like that anymore.
It's kind of lighthearted and just it's kind of cool. I even like there's an even older one from '79 called BMX Bandits.
Okay.
If you could find it, Nicole Kidman is the girl BMXer.
Wow.
She looks like
yeah.
she's like 13 or 14 in this movie. It's so
crazy.
cool.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I think it was like reddish curly hair in this movie.
That's
it's
great.
So funny.
That's great. No, I just always remember that movie, and because I know you still collect. I remember being at your garage and you have some of your old bikes and you collect, and those are collector items now.
Yep.
Yeah. So you've gotten into the car craze like a lot of us. You've obviously taken it to another level, and you have a condo at what's the official name of
Iron Gate Motor.
Iron Gate Motor. Yeah, Iron Gate Motor. I always forget that. So, very unique, and I will obviously attach your information to the podcast so you can reach out to you if you want to go check it out. But why don't you talk a little bit about how you got introduced to that whole community and what it's been like over the years?
Man, I've always had cool cars, so I was always doing car shows. Like long as I can remember, had something cool going to car shows.
Because if you're not a car enthusiast, it's hard to comprehend
what it is.
You
want to know what it is?
Well, yeah, because I was explaining this to someone the other day, and they were looking at me like I had a horn. Yeah. I'm like, it's condos for car, and they're like, well, what do you mean? Is there a track there? I'm like, no, it's not. There's not a track. It's just condos for cars.
It's storage.
You know a lot of the people there. How do most people use it for that? Just for storage, right?
It's a hangout.
Yeah.
It literally is
I think that's a better name for it. Yeah.
For instance, Saturday we did our Cinco de Mayo Fiesta Fest. That was our first car show of the year. Saturday. We do another one for the 4th of July. That's the Stars and Cars. We have a live band. Usually it's like one of the really good bands. Our buddy Tyler, who was owner at Iron Gate, he plays in a lot of those cool bands.
Okay.
ARRA, A-R-R-A.
Yeah.
Infidelity, all these other bands.
Yep.
These type of bands are going out playing for that. And then we do a Oktoberfest too.
That's awesome.
We call it Cartoberfest, but we do that one in September. So those are our big shows. But even without the big shows, just people hang out on the weekends there.
Yeah.
They're off of work, got your cars, you're tinkering with them. Sometimes there'll be an impromptu, let's go for a ride or a drive or something. That's kind of fun. If you remember,
condos have, so there's the garage.
And then there's
a mezzanine, and some of them have
the third story.
Story. Yeah.
So typically you could have football Sundays at your garage.
Yeah.
Right? We would hang out, got the TVs going for the football game, throw a pizza in the oven. I know. I said, why is there an oven in a garage? Because you're hanging out.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice. The logic of it is, if you have a family at home, you're not bringing all your dudes over to hang out and watch a football game or a basketball game, and your wife and your kids are listening to you guys act like fools.
Yeah.
So why not just do it at your garage condo?
Yeah. And this community is actually
it's just a cool hangout.
You've incorporated your business into this community. That's why I really wanted to
I run
talk
my
about
office
it.
out of there. Yeah.
I think that's a great takeaway for clients, for consumers, forever. It's like you want to work with people that have the same interests as you, that you meet. You've met a ton of clients in this community. So how much has that kind of changed your business a little bit, and how much business do you get from this new community that you're involved in?
Well, I've been in there since 2006.
Yeah.
That's when their first building was up in 14, but there's so many buildings it literally took them till 2021-ish.
Wow.
To
complete everything?
To sell everything out.
Wow.
Because, it was building by building. So there was like, I don't even know, it's got to be at least 10 buildings.
How many total units do you know total?
It was supposed to be 170 something, but people would buy two.
Okay, and then kind of combine
make that
them?
One.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd see where it used to be like unit number 101 and 102 is now just all of it is unit 101.
Yeah.
And so now there's like 126.
Wow.
But it could be 170 something if you did it that way. And then there's crazy people that are buying 3 units there now.
Wow. Yeah.
Sometimes you can't get it next to yours, so you'll actually go buy one somewhere else in a different building because you're running out of space. So
Wow. It must be a nice problem to have when you're running out of space with cars.
Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Where do you see your business going over the next, couple of years? Obviously you're kind of in a good spot with your commercial side, residential side, back and forth between Arizona and Illinois. Where do you see the business going over the next couple of years?
I hope it doesn't change too much.
Yeah.
Because, it's one of those things where I'm not getting any younger.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying a little bit of free time, going mountain biking. I used to not have time for that,
Yeah.
My kids were at the high school sports thing where you have to take them all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't have time for anything. With the 16-hour work days and you throw that in, it's like, oh my God, I didn't have time for anything. So now I'm kind of enjoying getting out mountain biking, hanging out with my friends. We did a Like Saturday night, I didn't even think about work. Just go hang out with all the Iron Gate guys after the car show. Sunday, we did a road rally. You know, if this was before, I would have been doing an open house on Saturday. I would have been doing an open house on Sunday. I would have put my signs out on Friday because I needed every business that I could get. But after doing it so long with enough closings I have, I don't have to prospect as much as I used to. So I kind of like it. So I don't really plan on making much changes.
Yeah, no, it's great. And then what would you say, like, your style from a listing standpoint? I always love, you know, kind of learning, because do you find it where you meet with someone and you kind of like, this is my process, this is how I work, this is it? Or do you find yourself where you're kind of tailoring it to the client a little bit more? Are you a little bit of both?
You're going to laugh at this. Sometimes I don't have any script to do.
Yeah.
Because they're like, hey, what are you doing? Sign me up.
Okay.
What about my pitch? You know, I got my info ready to go. List the damn thing. I know who you are. Let's go.
Yeah. And you just attribute that to your relationships through all these other channels and your time in the business and that.
What I have learned a lot of times is if they are asking you to do the full elevator pitch, not the elevator pitch, but the full pitch, then they might already have someone that they're going to use anyway, whether or not I'm fantastic or not fantastic, because sometimes people, they just want a second opinion.
Yeah.
You know, like I know I've been used a few times like that just to get a price, because I think what happens is you got a weird house that might be a little harder to comp.
Yeah.
So they have their best friend or someone they grew up with that's going to do it, or their sister. They don't tell me that. They'll get me over it, and I could tell, you know, they want to hear the whole pitch and how'd you come up with the price?
Yeah.
Well, this is how I came up with the price. Oh, man, you're the best. Thanks. I'll get back with you. And then they hired the other person anyway, but they got me as a second opinion to see if it was either their friend's price was too low or too high. So I think that happens a lot to us poor realtors who are duped into this, where we're wasting our evening.
Don't you kind of feel like, to your point initially about how they're not asking you for as much information, do you feel like, you know, a consumer is hiring you for your experience in managing people, your experience, all the things that we talked about so far today? Do you feel like the consumer is really, you know, obviously hiring you for that because you've wrote contracts, you've dealt with appraisal issues, you've done the commercial side, you've done all these things. So if they know that, you know, you have all this experience and you have this great team behind you and the people that you choose to work with because you've done it in the business long enough, don't you feel like that's what they're hiring, is that whole package?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. On this side of the fence, I would say that the people there are legitimate people who never sold a house before, first-time sellers, that they just don't know how it works. So they want to see the whole pitch, right? So those people are definitely there. And that's what I noticed, too, that if they're just calling, like, people from Zillow or Redfin, they don't know you. Then they want to hear the whole pitch. And I think that's the difference, too. It's the people who have no idea. They didn't look me up. They didn't do any research. They just say, hey, someone told me to call you. And they don't know. So then I'm ready for the whole pitch. You know, get the little...
And do you find yourself in those scenarios? Do you have like kind of a set? Do you lean on the Floyd Wickman, you know, kind of training, or do you kind of feel like you?
That. I
Yeah.
incorporate that.
Yeah, because I know that was a big part of years ago.
That works. I mean, I did the Buffini stuff too, and some Ferry stuff, and what's the Doug guy too? Man, there was another crazy dude, Doug. I took a little from everybody.
Yeah, I like that because I feel like I'm the same way too. Like I'm not big on coaching or things like that, but I love taking little bits and pieces and kind of making it fit my style.
Right.
Because the worst thing you can do in our business is you end up just regurgitating scripts, and then you kind of lose who you are and why people really want to work with you, and that can be trouble too. Yeah.
I would say it's nice to have to pull that pitch out once in a while, just so it stays somewhat memorable in your head. Because I literally, during COVID, I think I might have went a year without using it. Like an entire year. And then when I came back to a real
because we were all
presentation, I was like,
we were all order takers during COVID.
It was crazy.
Just like,
it was crazy.
You know, just show me this house.
During the COVID stuff, it was interesting. So I was hanging out in Arizona a lot. But 90% of my business is still in Illinois. So just so everyone knows, you could do it. If you're a realtor watching this, you could do it. but it sure was easier during COVID because they didn't want me in their house.
Yeah.
They didn't even know I was hanging out in Arizona, which is great.
Yeah.
But what happens is, I've got agent friends, agents that trust me and like me, and I'll pay them to go put a lockbox on. I'll pay them to go do something that, I'm not looking for any free help.
I mean, honestly, all the times that we work together, I don't know if you're here, there, never impacts anything.
Right.
Like, nowadays our business is becoming so different that you don't need that. And I would say this too, is there one thing that you wish more buyers know and understood regarding the current market? Do you wish, and obviously you'll help them through
like
that.
Right now, today's market here? Yeah, that how tough it is to get those starter homes right now. I mean, if you're not, be prepared to go over asking price if it's price fair.
Yeah.
It's tough for a buyer right now.
Would you agree that the more work they do up front, the more likely they are to have a successful journey? Meaning, during COVID, what would we do? We'd meet someone at a house, we'd write an offer, and those 2017 to 2020 years, I remember them vividly. Like you could meet a client, you could write an offer, and then a couple homes, they were under contract. Those days, those are the end of it.
It was a normal market. I mean, you had a little bit of competition, but not a lot.
Yeah.
So you could actually negotiate an entire week. Going back and forth for $5,000. Back and forth. And no one didn't come up and scoop it out from under you like they could today.
Yeah.
Ever since COVID, that happened.
Yeah.
Before COVID, we didn't have this nonsense going on. It was so crazy. And this kind of reminds me, because back in those 2017 eras, my old subdivision I lived in, I got a listing. The sellers were like typical fun sellers, awesome people to work with. And I just remember when we got them an offer, everyone was trying to beat everyone up at the time, right?
Yeah.
Like even if you're like listed at 410 and you got a 2,500 square foot house in a great subdivision, seems like a deal today, but that was like normal, right up their price, right? And you get the clients. I'm just telling you a story because it's going to end with me making them more money than they thought they were going to get. They priced it high on purpose, like the 410 price. It really was a 390 house, right?
Yeah.
And we got an offer after months. This was the time, like months, to get a freaking offer on a house that pricey, right?
You're thrilled you got it.
Because that house now is probably $650, not $400, right?
Yeah.
So that was like spending $650 back then. So, I'd taken 3-4 months, finally got an offer. Oh God, we got to make this one stick, And they came in with $390, which I thought, we're going to make this happen.
Yeah.
You know how sellers go, there's meat on this bone. Because, they were at 409 or 408, something crazy like that.
Yeah.
They counteroffer like normal. And then the buyer came up just a little bit. So then they went down just a tiny little bit. I mean, we went back and forth like so many times that my seller literally says, Lee, don't even call me unless you can get me 400.
Yeah.
Don't even call me. I'm tired of this nonsense for $1,000.
Yeah.
Tell them to go away and just don't even call me. Oh, okay. So finally, told the agent, 402 or go away. Because I figured they would come back with 4.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
It's like 402 or go away. Exact words from my seller. Okay. They came back with 402. So I had to call my seller who was expecting 400, right? And they said, well, I guess you got me 400 or you wouldn't be calling me. I go, no, I couldn't get you 400. And they said, well, what the hell are you calling me for?
Yeah.
Because I got you 402. What?
Yeah.
Bonus. There's our new couches for our new house. I'm like, okay, glad I could buy you a couch.
Well, that's what experience will get you that I think we've all lost sight of.
Yeah.
Because it's about kind of understanding the situation, being creative, getting to know the other realtor to be able to negotiate and see, because obviously both parties want to win. Yeah. And, you're taking you don't like drama, so you're taking emotion out of it from your seller. And then the buyer's the buyer's agent is trying to get the emotion out of it from the buyer, because everyone wants to feel like they got to get a good deal. And is there anything you wish your sellers knew and understood in the current market? Meaning like, obviously sellers are feeling amazing right now in our market in Illinois because they know that they're going to sell. But is there anything you wish they understood a little bit more?
The residential sellers, I think, are fine.
Yeah.
I think they're they're slightly more realistic than a lot of the commercial stuff, because the commercial stuff is weird because there's not as much of it.
Yeah.
It's harder to comp.
Yeah.
So I wish my commercial sellers a lot of times would realize that they might not necessarily have gold. They might have a pile of silver.
Yeah.
It might not be gold, but they think that it's gold, but really it's silver. Because I see that a lot of times, just like the residential people, sometimes they want to push the price a little too much.
Yeah.
Happens in the commercial stuff too. So that would be my suggestion for sellers in commercial, is to try to be realistic, that go with what the market's actually doing. And if anything, we don't know. This is a weird economy with all this nonsense going on with war stuff.
Yeah.
We don't know if it's going backwards or not. And I only say that is, I don't want to call them YouTubers, but the economists, some of them are YouTubers.
Yeah.
They talk about that 18-year cycle where things crash. 17 to 20 years, so 18-year cycle, whatever, where just like the 2008.
Yeah.
Previously before that, it was 18 years before that when they had that crazy collapse for a while there, the savings and loan stuff. So I don't know. We might be heading for that, which is kind of strange, because I know at Iron Gate, our garage condos did not sell good in 2005.
Yeah.
They sold, but not for what everyone is expecting, because, here's what's happening. We kept getting more and more and more and more until finally we hit the peak, and there's only one way to go down.
Yeah.
You can't keep going up forever, and I think that was it last year, was the down year for that type of industrial stuff.
Yeah. Do you feel like on the commercial side that you tend to see into a window of any type of recession before you see it in residential, or you see it? Is there any indicators that you see typically in commercial? I
would say if last year is a prophecy, then we might be into some slower, lower price points coming up here soon. Yeah. If that's a indicator. If it is. I don't know, because I've been doing it since 2005, but I wasn't good enough and did enough business by the time 2008 happened to give you a real opinion. The thing I always struggle with people always ask me this on residential side, and I'm obviously not in the commercial side, but I always talk about the residential side, and I throw this stat out a lot, but I think it's important, is that in 2019, in DuPage County, we had like 4,400 listings for sale, not under contract, in DuPage County, Right now, we have like 900. Oh, wow. So for me, and if you remember back in 2019, zero was talking about that we had a housing shortage, or we had too much inventory. Right. If anything, we thought for the first time in a long time in 2019, the market was very balanced, and we were all very confident going into 2020 pre-COVID. Yeah. So to me, like, at least in Illinois, if we're that far below inventory compared to 2019, and considering 2008, we probably had 10,000 homes for sale, not under contract. So to be at, 900, pretty scary. We're so far below. Like, the catalyst to have a decrease in value would have to be pretty dramatic. Not to say it can't happen, because we see cycles and they can happen quickly and they can sneak up on us. But we have a severe, at least in Illinois, we have a severe lack of inventory, and that's why we're experiencing our buyer that's taking, multiple offers, and people are willing to pay more than what others are and pay over list price, because, the analogy that I always give, so does the inventory, does that cause any concern that we're that low in inventory moving forward? Well, I could fix this. Yeah. If I was a politician, which I never will be, because that's way too much drama and nonsense. Yeah. But if I was, I would lower the rates last year. Yeah. Yeah. Last year, 2 years ago, I would have lowered the rates back to 4 something, maybe upper 4s, maybe low 4s, to see what happens. Maybe go right to 4.9. Yeah. And see what happens, because I think that would get everyone who wants to move, and that 900 listings will turn into 5,000. Yeah. As soon as you drop the rates, they could afford to move. The problem is they can't, because that $400,000 home is going to cost you $3,000 a month. It's insane.
I think if you got below 5.5, I think you could accomplish a lot of that. There's been a lot of studies on that. I mean, 4.99 would be great. I think the only concern that you would have is inflation. You know, if inflation, it's going to eat up the disposable income even more. And then even if you get the payment down to $3,000, if you know your cost of goods and services go up and you're paying more everywhere else,
right.
I would argue though, rates are a big problem. Home prices are a big problem. I'm not ignoring that. I will tell you this. I've been doing this for over 20 years, okay? The things that people spend money on today is way different than even 10 years ago, 15 years ago. You know, vacations, clothing, status stuff, cars. I mean, you're a car guy. You know what the average car payment was last year for the consumer? It was over $900 a month.
Oh, I thought it was $7. I just heard something about $7.
Over $900 a month.
Wow.
So, like, you figure, that's like $100,000 of a house.
That was my first my house payment in 1996.
Exactly. So, like, I think one of the things as a country we've done really a bad job of managing finances.
Yeah.
I also think the average consumer is struggling a little bit managing finances because we have access to, I don't know if you saw, but like you're a music guy, so Coachella, like 70% of the people that went to Coachella,
80%,
like financed their
took a loan to buy a concert ticket.
So people have money, okay? Unfortunately, they don't view housing the same way they did years ago, okay? And they would put it towards housing where, when we were younger, everything was about the American dream. I think that, I'm not saying it's not there. I'm just saying there's a lot of competing space for where money goes today that maybe wasn't present in previous markets.
It's true.
Yeah.
Does
that?
No, that is good.
Yeah.
But I'm still sticking with, we only have 900 listings because the other people can't move until the rates go where they can afford to move, which would be in the fours. So
I think it's even more complicated than that.
Well, this is what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
But nothing else is working. So if it did, I can almost guarantee you my sellers would be like, okay, now's the time. We got to go now. We're going to list our house now because while these rates are under 5, I can actually think I can afford to do this. I think that's what's going to happen.
But don't you think we used to have like this market where you had entry-level buyers coming in at 28, not 38. They'd buy a house for 3-4 years, okay? And then they would sell it, use the equity to buy. Baby boomers, so you got 60, 65-year-olds were selling, downsizing. That's not happening now because they own their house free and clear. And they don't want to, go to a senior living community because that's going to cost them, $10,000 a month or whatever some of these places are costing for these senior living communities.
Yep.
Like, it seems like we just don't have the normal demographics of people selling and buying like we've had in the past. It seems like it's almost locked up a little bit. I think rates is one piece of it.
Yeah.
Listen, I would take a 4% rate. I think that would be great for us. Yeah.
I know it sounds crazy. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
It ain't going to happen. But I'm just saying that would get more listings out there.
Yeah.
Because think about it. What's your rate? Where are you at?
We're probably 6.3.
No, I mean your personal house.
Oh, yeah, 2.99.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Thanks to COVID.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it would have been 4 if it wasn't for COVID.
Yeah.
And that was a good deal.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm getting at is if they went back to what we already have in our rates, everybody would list and we wouldn't have this shortage of houses anymore. It would get people to go. Then we see what happens with the economy after that. In other words, you might be a little bleak from what I hear, thinking that something bad's going to happen with inflation. But what if it don't? Because now people can afford that house and be able to move because they know they're getting a similar rate. It might be a little higher, but at least enough to get them to move. We won't have these ridiculous prices on houses if there was 10,000 houses to choose from.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean...
Because now you're going to be able to walk out there and take your time buying the house again, like we used to be able to do it.
I mean, obviously we need some type of change.
Yeah.
I don't know what that looks like. I hope there's a lot smarter people than you and I that can come up with a way, because I think under the current... I always tell buyers, I'm more concerned about home prices going higher at a rapid pace.
I know. That's what I'm talking about.
Than I am about interest rates, because I mean, look at it this way, a buyer, okay?
Yeah.
I tell this to buyers all the time. Hey, I know you don't like a 6.3% rate, but if rates were 5.5, if there are 5 offers on the property, there'd be 15 with
But
current inventory.
that's the problem.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the but.
Yeah.
My logic is, no, we need 10,000 listings.
Yeah, we do. We do. I agree.
And then there's no prices to fight over.
Yep, I
Because
agree.
the next guy's like, oh, I don't need 800 for this house. I'd be more than happy to take 7.25. I only paid 5 for it.
Yeah.
But they're not selling right now because they don't want a 7%.
Well, and I think
rate.
the other thing is a lot of people don't want to sell because there's nothing for them to buy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
yeah.
telling you, the catalyst would be awesome if we had 4% rates.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the 4s, people would move.
Yeah. I
And
agree.
then there'd be competition. There's no reason to overpay because there'd be 10,000 houses to choose from. It's really, to me, it's simple logic.
So you're agreeing that you're going to run for political office, and is that what you're saying?
No, but they can use me as a consultant.
Okay,
but I need
okay.
to get paid because every hour I'm not working, I'm not making money.
No, I
so
got it.
they
I
need
got
to
it.
Pay me.
So before we end, I always love to kind of talk a little bit about when we're in this business, you know, you have kids, you have a wife. There's always a lot of sacrifice, you know, outside of what we do because you're taking phone calls in the evening, you're doing things, and you have an extra special wife because she puts up with you having a car, you know, hobby and all these things. So how much of that has been contributes to your success in this business of having kind of that partner to be able to kind of understand the business? Because it's not the experience that a lot of people have in this business.
Yeah, you know, if I was to maybe not look at that as myself,
Yeah.
because I'm not a typical person
Yeah.
with a drive to do all this and
Yeah.
just work 16-hour days. Not everybody wants to do that.
Yeah.
But if I was to look at that as a normal person, I would just say that with the kids and the wife or without the kids and the wife, it's really up to the individual if they're going to be successful in this
Yeah.
business because clearly you could do it with both, right?
Yeah.
And did the kids and the wife help me? Sure. But at the same time, I also had the kids didn't help me sell anything.
Yeah.
Except for on the occasions when my wife's not around
Yeah.
and
yeah.
I got to take them out on
You got to
showings.
take them on, but don't you feel like them seeing you in your element and
Yeah, it's-
running a business
Yeah,
really teaches them
it's
a lot of
scared straight.
exactly.
I scared them straight.
Yeah.
My daughter and my son would go out with me on the couple showings. You know, they were little, like
Yeah.
6, 7, 8 years old. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, I would warn my client, hey, I don't have really an option. Either we do these showings 5 hours from now or tomorrow, because I'm watching the kids. Oh no, let's just bring them over. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, they did get.
Yeah.
They did get to go, but now that my daughter, you know, she's in her 20s, she's like, hell no, I ain't doing what you're doing. you are working too much.
Well,
And
nobody plans to be a realtor at 20.
Right,
She'll
right.
accidentally be a realtor at 30. Yeah,
right. That's a good point. Sydney, if you're
Yeah,
listening.
yeah.
Anyways, the funny part was she'd call me out. I remember, do you remember, Dad, at our games, and I'd see you up in the bleachers, and you were like trying to hide behind people?
Yeah.
So that you would like, you'd be over here, I could see you. Oh, hey, Dad. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, where is he? Oh, I was on the phone behind someone, so she didn't see me.
Yeah.
She's like, I know that.
Yeah.
And I'm calling you out on it. So she called me out plenty
Yeah.
of times that I was a dumbass for not paying 100% attention. So
Well, I mean, I think that's the sacrifice that we make. I mean, it has a lot of benefits. It has a lot
Yeah.
of sacrifice, but I think in the grand scheme of things, I think it takes a good kind of support system at home to be able to
Yeah.
make this work. Because if you're always worried about work, you know, and you can't do the calls, or your commercial clients calling you at 8 o'clock at night.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Lee, I need you to do this. And you're like, I can't take this call. Like, it affects your business. So
For sure.
I think it's a big part of what we do, you know, when we grow up. So, and
it's
develop
true.
in this industry.
They would be like, oh, my dad's probably on a work call.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's just what we do.
Yeah.
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 So the last thing that I always ask everyone is, if you were not in real estate, I think I know the answer to this, but like, maybe you'll surprise me. So if you weren't in real estate, money's no object. You've made all your money. You know, what would be the perfect, you know, what do you think would be the perfect, you know, what would you do from a career wise?
I would retire. What do you mean career?
No, come on. You got to do something like what's your dream job? Like something
That's
that you
what
would
I'm saying.
Yeah.
My dream job is I would just be able to hang out and mess around with my car stuff, hang out at car shows.
What's a dream car that you could purchase?
Well, wait, it gets even funnier.
Okay.
People don't know this, but
Yeah.
I have a pretty decent vintage video game collection. I love that stuff.
Like
man.
what kind of video games?
Vintage video games. Anything from
Like
the
Pac-Man
Sega stuff, the
or
Nintendo
Sega?
stuff, the TurboGrafx stuff.
you know what I
got
had
some
growing up?
Crazy stuff.
I had Odyssey. Everyone had Atari, and I had Odyssey.
Well, sadly, I had Intellivision, the ColecoVision.
Okay.
ColecoVision. Yeah.
So I was like, you know how everyone had VHS and then someone had Beta? Like, my dad always went against the grain.
Of course.
Like he always went. So everyone else had Atari. I had Odyssey. They'd come over.
And I picked TurboGrafx instead of Nintendo.
Okay.
Yeah, I was the same goof.
Yeah, because like people would come over and they're like, "Hey, can we play Atari?" I'm like, "No, we can play Odyssey." They're like, "What's Odyssey?"
Yeah,
like,
right.
Nobody had that game. Yeah.
Same thing with the ColecoVision. They were like, "What?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would be your dream car that you could purchase? Again, money's not an object. Do you have a car that?
I've got a last gen Viper recently. The first gen was my dream car, so I had that. Now I recently bought the Gen 5 one, so a newer one.
Have you seen the guys at that club that have they all have the twin turbos on the Vipers? There's like 10 of them. They go to the drag strip all the time, but that's the big thing now with the twin turbos is which is insane.
So I guess if I was to add to the collection that are a little bit pricey right now, the Ford GTs. GT40s, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would add those.
I mean, those have just gone
so out of
crazy
hand.
on
like
price.
$500,000 car. That's insane.
Yeah. Crazy on price.
I need more clients so I can buy one of those. I need more business. But yeah, that would be a cool car to have too.
Yeah.
And I feel like I would need to drive it though. So I think I'd buy one with some miles on it so I don't feel bad about
so you don't have to
driving
like sit it in the garage. Yeah, just stare at it or whatever. Or feel guilty driving for that matter. Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Well, Lee, I want to say like I appreciate all the years working with you. You know, we've closed over the years a lot of business, but I always appreciate you mentioned something in the very beginning, and it you are no drama, zero. And I always appreciate that because in a real estate transaction, there's a ton that goes on the lender side, and you're working through a lot of different things. And there's always two scenarios that happen when you have there's usually a lot of drama. When something goes wrong, there's usually a lot of drama. Clients are frustrated. The underwriter's asking for something, and you're really trying to manage it. And what I always loved working with you as a team is you didn't add to the drama. Like I would call you and give you a heads up on something, but you would always just let us figure it out, and maybe you trusted us enough, or you would. But I can't stress it. Being in this business 20 years, how much that actually helps get to the solution is when you're not kind of adding to the drama of a problem. And you were always very not that we had a lot of problems, but when we did, you always just let us figure it out. Hey, just let me know. I'm sure it'll be fine. And I don't, as far as I can remember, we never had a deal not closed. But I just always appreciate you kind of helping us through that and trusting us and not doing that, because when you mentioned that in the very beginning, that's what I always appreciate working with you about that.
And my whole mentality is it's just it happens, crap happens.
Yeah.
And in life, things always go weird.
Yeah.
And it's only because there's always those other people that cause the nonsense. And I've had so many of them. And just think about this, since a teenager, dealing with clients, even with the painting business, my delivery business, and then real estate, I've had just craziest personalities that I had to deal with. And I just learned that, I don't know, I was always calm.
Is there any advice?
If you see me get angry, you must have really, really did something.
Is there any advice you give to your kids or anyone about dealing with people that you've learned over the years?
They don't listen to me. They're still at that age. I could tell them whatever. I'm trying to teach them finance stuff about stocks and investing. And they're like, I'm like, okay. I die tomorrow, you're screwed.
Yeah, exactly.
You should probably listen.
Yeah.
But same thing with anyway, other realtors that I get to deal with too. Yeah. Like I appreciate you pointing that out, because I do get to work with a lot of cool realtors. And whether it's a transaction or they actually hire me, I have so many residential agents ask me to partner up with a commercial deal. And when we work together, they're like, man, you're so chill and easy to work with. And same thing with you guys too. I'm always just like that. It's not just it's part of my mentality. I've seen everything.
Well, I think that you're being modest about it, but like I love it has a huge impact because as many transactions we close out of this branch with me and the other loan officers, I will tell you that like that is something that I think a lot of people from the client side and from the real estate side is what I will always tell people when there's a lot of drama is I'll always say, hey, call the attorney. Okay.
There you go.
Because typically the two attorneys are the least emotionally attached
Right.
to the transaction.
Yeah.
And good attorneys can take all the emotion out and go to a client because sometimes the realtor is like emotionally invested.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The other realtor, they're bickering. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
The client's upset, and you can call an attorney and it can be resolved in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But that's why I love working with you is because I don't need to get to that because it's just never a part of the transaction. And I appreciate that a lot.
And the funny part is I've had crazy emotional deals and people.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, usually you don't even make it to the, you're not even buying one of my listings.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times it's not my choice, but usually a lot of times when the buyer's agent is attacking you and being really aggressive and kind of like, what the heck, this person's over the top.
Yeah.
Whether it's a female or a male. I've seen both. My client is aware of this. This is the part that these agents are screwing it up for their buyers, man. They come at one of my listings acting nuts. I got to tell my buyer, I say, look, man, here's what she told me. She's yelling at me about this, this, and this. Like, we better give them the house at this price or what?
And I think that's what makes you so valuable to the people that you work with is that you can go to, you mentioned Floyd Wickman, Buffini, you can do all those training. At the end of the day, you just got to be a good person.
That's the bottom line, man.
I mean, like, and that will take you much further than anything else.
That is it.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah.
The training is only there when you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That really helps you stay in the game because you don't know what you're doing. You're trying to learn as much as possible. But if you don't have a good attitude and actually like to do the best for your people as possible, which is how I always grew up. My parents were givers like that.
Yeah.
So you learn it from being around people who are givers. So
was your mom and dad calm like that and kind of level-headed? And did you get that?
My dad was so calm like that.
So you got that from your dad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom was really calm too, but
Yeah.
she would fly off first.
Yeah.
If my dad ever flew off, I was really getting it.
So
'Cause it took a lot to get him going. I'm like my dad.
Yeah,
You really got to push my buttons to
Yeah.
get that much out of me.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, Lee, I appreciate the time. And again, appreciate all the support over the years. I really enjoyed the conversation. I know we tried to get you in this chair
2 years.
for a really long time. So I'm thrilled that we're able to pull it off before you head out of town. So
awesome.
I hope we can do it again in the near future now that we got
for sure.
the first one out of the way.
Yeah.
And then we can dig in a little bit deeper maybe into the car stuff and everything else. But I appreciate you
Cool.
taking the time.
I appreciate you having me here.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Lee. Thank you.